All right, we good? We all good? Yes, we are locked in like my front door. Now, today's episode is a little different. First of all, welcome back to the Arse All YouTube channel and podcast. In today's weekly waffle, we are actually going over the pre-season match of Manchester United and Arsenal. What I sort of noticed, I did watch, I'd say 90% of the game, including the penalties. A lot of negatives, I won't lie to you. We looked sort of night and day in terms of fitness, but we are going to touch on all of that. Of course, we are also going to be talking about a couple players that might be surplus to requirements, and also players in terms of where they're going to play, their best position, and what I've noticed from them, especially the new signings. But I guess we're going to just start with the United and Arsenal match. It is pretty much an American tour, US tour, if you will. I know we are possibly only there to make the dosh, appease the American fans, which is great, of course. You know, the more fans, the more money, the more success, in theory. I've actually got some notes written down from what I've noticed in the match. I'd say the whole match and parts of it did change throughout the match as well. But we're starting off with fitness. We did not look fit at all. I don't know whether it was because we played a match a few days ago. That's no excuse, of course. United probably did the same. It just looked like United was so much fitter than us, and their first 11 just looked like they had that chemistry. Now, I know there were a few players missing from United as well, but Arsenal played, who did they play? They played Timber, Havertz and Rice, you know, new signings. And yes, you would argue, I would argue as well, it's only pre-season. You can only sort of tell so much from those matches. But when it's against United, there's somewhat of bragging rights in there. But also you can sort of gauge where the team is at in terms of chemistry, fitness, sharpness, and also their best positions wherever they're going to play. Rice didn't look fit, I'll be honest. He did make a few key interceptions. Looked like he was out of his depth in terms of, hear me out, in terms of filling in that midfield role where he was sort of doing everything, box to box, mainly defensive midfield. But it looked like Havertz and Odegaard were playing a double pivot. They were sort of like playing a more attacking role, both of them. But Havertz looked like the Xhaka role more than anything else. But it sort of didn't look natural for him. Now, with Havertz, he's always been more of a false nine, a front three player, could potentially play in a number 10 where Odegaard predominantly plays for us. But the Havertz role, he did look good in some spells in terms of playing that Xhaka position, popping up that false sort of front four where he'd pick up pockets of space. It didn't look natural for him, but I was impressed with his work rate. He didn't look like he worked that hard in any Chelsea game I've ever witnessed. Arteta looks like he's been working him to the bone. He's more aggressive, it looks like. He's more willing to run down players. Yes, it's pre-season. Yes, players want to prove a point and also get their match fitness up. Of course they do. I was impressed with Havertz. I know he wasn't the sharpest on the ball. Missed an absolute sitter of a header towards the end of the game. Yes, we lost 2-0. Forgot to mention that, of course. And we lost the penalty shootout. So you could say, or United fans have been reminding me, you know, on Twitter quite a lot, that we lost twice in one game. Now, yes, have it, mate. Have it. If it means you can sleep better at night, have it. It's pre-season, you know. Ten Hag looked like he was flipping in a Champions League final, the way he was moaning. Like, honestly, what a joke. I was going to say something else, but anyway. I liked Havertz, honestly. His best position, we'll talk about that after this segment in terms of the match review. United looked like they did adopt that sort of inverted right back position, like Liverpool have adopted it with Trent, like City have been doing it with Cancelo and Stones, and how we've been doing it with the inverted left back of Zinchenko. Now, it did look like it worked for him. I can't lie to you, like it did. Wan-Bissaka was playing that position. I didn't notice Dalot do that as much in the second half. Maybe it's just more of a trial and error. Could be trying out different personnel for different systems with United. That's what pre-season's near enough all about. It did work. I mean, Wan-Bissaka for me is one of the best one-on-one defenders. Like, it's very hard to beat him. His positioning's never been the greatest. His athleticism's always been up there. But in terms of one-on-ones, amazing. Another thing I'd noticed with, I'd say Arsenal's 90%, it was like a first team. There was Tomiyasu playing left back, which was interesting. He cut in on his right quite a lot. I like that. Also, we played Nketiah up front. He did push out to the left once Martinelli went off, made a few subs. I don't know, man. Nketiah's really got a big season ahead of him in terms of pushing for a starting place in a different competition. I don't think Premier League. Could be one or two of the group games in the Champions League, could be a Carabao Cup, FA Cup. You know, he's one of those sort of fringe players, if you will. I did like Timber. He looked amazing. Like, one-on-ones with Garnacho, and Garnacho is no mug. Like, let's have it out there. He's not a first team player, but he's a baller. Yeah, Timber looked aggressive. He looked sharp. He looked like the recovery pace is there, and that's exactly what we need. Ben White looks like a starter, but he doesn't have that recovery pace of a Timber. And Timber can play multiple positions. Let's not forget that. But I did like him. Gabriel made a big mistake and Ramsdale made a big mistake for both of the goals. It is pre-season, man. I'm not going to look too much into it, but they both have a mistake in them. They both cost us a few points last season because of it, but they also saved us in a few games, so I can't moan at that. But they do have it in them. Saliba looks good. He looks, I say 80% of what he looked like last season. When he's fit, it's dangerous, man. Saliba, honestly, amazing. Now, of course, the Sancho goal, like I've already said, was because of Gabriel's misjudged header. Yes, match fitness and sharpness will come on during the preseason, during the whole season as well. So I'm not going to look too much into that either. If we're going to compete, and I'm not just talking about United, I'm talking about for trophies, we have to cut that nonsense out. There is no room for error. One of those goals conceded could cost us 2-3 points in a season, could cost us a top 4, could cost us, a trophy in the end, in the Champions League, in the league itself, so we have to cut it out, man. Now, like most preseason matches, there was a lot of substitutions in the second half, and I miss Tierney, man. I'm glad he's back. Like, he looked like a proper left back, like tough tackling Tierney. Yeah, how's that alliteration for you? He looked like a proper up and down the line, no prisoners in the tackle. And I feel like we're missing that. Like, I love a Zinchenko inverted left back. I do love it. Like, plays more of a centre mid than anything else throughout the match. But defensively, he's never been great. And that's probably why City let go of him. And that's why he cost us a couple games last season. Let's be real. Love him to death, but come on. Now, one thing I wanted to touch on was Smith Rowe. He has been missing for quite a lot. He won, I believe, the Euros with England under 21s. He was pivotal into that. Let's be real. Like, he was very important for that victory with England. He looked good coming on. A lot of driving with the ball. Looked like the Smith Rowe of age. It's just keeping him fit, finding him the right position to play him in this system. I know we've got Havertz as well. Personally, I don't think he's a winger. I don't think he's got the athleticism for it. I don't think he's got that deadly pace that a Saka, a Martinelli, a Jesus has. But what I think one of his strengths is driving with that ball, that change of pace, that change of direction. You know how he's sort of like adopted that inverted winger role. So like he'll come in, stop, start. Martinelli does it the best for me out of everyone. Saka, yes, don't get me wrong, yes. But I feel like Martinelli's more direct. And he's always looking forward. Like Saka, there'll be a couple games in the season where he might go missing, and that's due to fatigue and overplaying him and burning out. But in terms of Smith Rowe, it's great to see him back. Yes, we've said this time and time again, one for the future, but he needs to find his position. And I feel like that's Arteta's job as well as it is his job. Could he play in that Xhaka role? Could he be driving forward? Him and Havertz sort of playing that position or battling it out for that position? I think so. I think that'll be a great thing to see throughout the season, adding a bit more depth to it. Partey coming out, it was interesting with him actually. There was a point where I believe Saliba come off. He shifted out to the right back position. Ben White dropped in centre back. It was sort of like a back three or back two with two wing backs. But it was interesting how Arteta sort of shaped that up. I mean, there was always talks about Partey being able to play in the right back position when very much needed, like a Caicedo would play for Brighton. I don't know. It wouldn't make sense because if we've got Timber now, but it also gives us sort of a plan B or C. That was interesting. He sort of shifted out to the right. He did get down the line a few times, but I mean, you know, we need him in the middle, cutting out the passes, sort of like tough tackling, playing the ball as well, because he sort of turns out, plays the right ball, gets us moving on the counter. I need a breath for this one. Fabio Vieira. Oh, bro, I need you to either go out on loan. You need to hit up them protein shakes, bro. Some mass gainer. You know, you need to be doing push-ups every flipping hour. Planks, get that core strength up. I'm a personal trainer, bro. Well, I am a qualified personal trainer. So if you need to hit me up, we can arrange it. But honestly, this guy, he just doesn't look confident. Yes, it's pre-season, but the past season or so where he's been in the team, the game against Southampton, all these times I've seen him, he just doesn't look like the guy. Like 90% of the Arsenal team, when you're there, you look hungry. Do you know what I mean? Like Smith Rowe, he looks hungry, coming off for 10, 20 minutes, whatever it was. Like all these players, when they get their chance, they're trying to like prove a point. They're showing for the ball. They're driving at players. All of these things, like they're putting themselves in positions to be able to prove a point to the manager and the team. I'm not trying to go too hard on him because, you know, he's still sort of bedding in. And it's, you know what, let me stop. Like, it's not just because he missed the penalty, which cost us the penalty shootout. It's only pre-season. It's not that deep, yeah. I swear to you, Allah be my witness, yeah. Soon as he stepped up for his penalty, I said to my missus, because I was watching it with her, he's going to miss. I can tell he's going to miss. I swear, wallahi, I said that. As I look at his body language, he doesn't look confident. Even Tom Heaton, this bloody goalkeeper I've never heard of, looked like Billy Big Bollocks. Like, he looked like, I've got him. Like, mental games, mind games, I've got him. Pablo Vieira, Fabio Vieira, whatever Vieira is, if it's not Patrick, I don't really want to know. But he just looked like he was going to miss. No confidence, body language all off. Looks like shy. But how can you look shy playing for Arsenal, bro? I get it, personality types, but you're there to prove a point. You're not starting 11, bro. Like, prove your worth. And even in the match, he shied away from wanting the ball. I could tell when he was on the ball, he lost it pretty quickly. Didn't make any runs. Like, he just didn't look like he wanted to be there. And I don't know, man. If anyone can get a player out of him, it's Arteta, bar Pep, of course. But I think he needs to go on loan, like in the Prem or League 2, League 1, whatever it is. Like somewhere in England that's tough tackling, like a Marquinhos did for Norwich City, you know? Now, Ramsdale, I have never seen a keeper of Arsenal be as bad at saving penalties, but equally being as good as a keeper in the rest of it, like the rest of his abilities. Like Ramsdale, one of the best keepers in the league. Let's have it right. Top 5, yeah? Top 5. I'm not going to claim top 3. Top 5. I'd say top 5. But when it comes to penalties, I just don't get how you can't even go the same direction as where they're hitting it once. Like, he lost us in a way, the penalty shootout, you know, in the Europa League last season. I think it was quarterfinals. Obviously this one. And I sound like a knob because it's only a pre-season. No one's sharp. No one's like match fit. No one's nothing. And I get it. I've played football to a semi-pro level. Like, I know in it. Like, I know how it goes. Yeah. You've had too many like fun nights out in Ibiza or wherever you've been, bro. But no, it's just what I've noticed throughout the couple games, especially against United. It's bragging rights. You know what I mean? United, I can't stand the fans, bro. Honestly, that's mainly what I wanted to talk about. In terms of best positions for the newcomers, like the Havertz, the Rice, the Timber, possibly some new other players. It looks like Partey is staying, thankfully. It does look like that. And I'm grateful. Odegaard looked good. He looked like he wanted to get on the ball quite a lot, make things tick. Jesus looked good as well. I'll be honest, like he looked lively, he looked hungry, and he looked like he was making things happen when he came on, which was amazing to see. Going back to Rice, I think he needs to play with Partey, man. I can't see him being that sole defensive midfielder because it takes a lot away, so much away from what he's actually capable of on the ball, being a box-to-box player. And I think it will be a bad decision by Arteta to sort of take that away from him. You know, because 105 million quid is not cheap, bro. We need to get the best out of him. And I think Partey will complement any midfielder next to him. So playing those two will be interesting. Yes, that goes into my next point with Havertz. Havertz, where is his best position? Now, I think he did amazing. Like, yes, pre-season and all, but he did amazing in that position. Missed a sitter with the header, but work rate wise, running down the ball, like making it hard for people on the ball. And also, you know what? I'd say he could potentially get a couple goals. Like, he was popping up where he needed to, and that was great. So I think him playing that Xhaka role, but also we do have a Rice there as well. So it's that great problem to have where you have to rotate quite a lot, fitting in your best players in different systems, in different matches, different competitions, you know. Timber, I don't think you move that around too much. Him playing right back, and I'd start him because he looked, bro. When I mean I was impressed with mostly him out of the defenders. Like, he looked great. He gave away a couple fouls, don't get me wrong, but that's all down to sharpness, knowing how certain players play. And he looked like he could save us a few goals. Like, on the counter attack, him getting back in position, cutting it off the line, cutting down a key pass, you know, he looks like that guy. Love Ben White, but I think Ben White just lacks that recovery pace. So I'd stick Timber in the right back position. Don't play about with that. It'll be very interesting to see what Arteta does with these players and in these systems that he's sort of trialing out. And I've got a massive feeling about this season, and it's good to see, man. I'm excited, but I'm nervous because there's a lot of weight on their shoulders now. The money that we've spent, the players we've bought in, they're no mugs. You know what I mean? Timber, Rice, spending so much money on him. Havertz as well. He's got a lot to prove in a sense. I hope you like this sort of match review to the Weekly Waffle episode. I was going to do a whole player rating thing, but pre-season, it's not worth it, bro. It is not worth it for me. It's just great to try out different things, different players in different positions, systems, and the rest of it, and just getting everyone up to speed in terms of fitness. You know, it's great. I love it. And it's stressful because it's like you're not used to the non-competitiveness of these sort of matches when you're playing United. It's bragging rights, but also it's pre-season. So, you know, it's all that for you. But anyway, comment down below if you watched the match. What do you think about your team? If it is an Arsenal or United, or if it is, let me know how they're looking in pre-season, what players you're looking to bring in, you would like to bring in. Comment that all down below. Leave a 5-star rating on Spotify or your other podcast platforms. And of course, until the next episode, take care.